Welcome to the Combot Collective.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another very right back at you episode of Robot Combat Tonight, brought to you by the Combot Collective. Bring everything you want to know from the world of robot combat, from heavyweight class to fleetweight class, from BattleBots to the live circuit. I am your host, as always, Sterling Brown, aka Sterling TXTG on Instagram, aka Corey to 300th on Reddit and Discord. And like I promised you guys, 2 Robot Combat Tonight episodes in 1 week as we play a little bit of catch up after a very, very slow October. Just a day ago, or maybe even a couple of days ago, I don't know exactly when this episode is coming out, we talked all about Champions Qualifier number 3 and number 4. Very exciting episodes where we saw jackpot and free shipping, a veteran and a fairly new team both qualifying for the Elite 8 of Champions, the Golden Bolt tournament, joining the likes of Shredded Bro, the number 1 qualifier, and our former BattleBots giant nut holders in Tantrum, Sawblaze, and Endgame. Names that we're going to be hearing quite a bit on Robot Combat Tonight over the next couple, maybe even 3 episodes here. But this episode is all about finishing some regular seasons here as we talk about both the NHRL September event, the final regular season qualifier for them, and of course our header here, Champions Episode 5, probably the second most stacked bracket of the entire championship season for BattleBots Champions 2, with some big names, some big storylines that we're going to be discussing throughout this episode. But more on that in just a moment. This is a very exciting episode because, of course, very successful episode for Ripperoni, and we put a lot of highlight on Shredded Bro. We put a lot of highlight on Star Child already over the past couple of weeks. But what about Ripperoni? Well, you can find merchandise for all 3 of these robots if you're a fan of Shredded Bro, Ripperoni, or even Star Child on RobotsRuinMyLife.com, the proud sponsor and supporter of the Combot Collective. Robots Ruin My Life is a merchandise provider for numerous East Coast robot combat teams, including the 3 BattleBots teams we just mentioned. If you're looking to get some BattleBots merchandise for your ever-growing collection, you can get yourself a Star Child bomber jacket or poker chip, a Ripperoni pizza box, a Shredded Bro t-shirt for the 3-pound version or the 250-pound version. And talking about the 3-pound version, we are oh so close to the NHRL finals, and if you want to stock up on some NHRL merchandise to really get a little bit more niche with your robot combat collection, RobotsRuinMyLife.com has you caught up there too. Plenty of robots from both Omega Team and Team Shredded are represented on the website, including some in-house NHRL shirts and even some shirts for other robots in the field, such as Milk Tank. You can get Milk Tank t-shirts or stickers on the website, plus numerous other things. P1 appears in this episode. They have P1 merchandise on the website. That's where we have, the P1 shirt I sometimes wear on the show. All the stickers you see behind me, a lot, those are from RobotsRuinMyLife.com, and plus so much more you can find on their page. Check it out in the description below, and stay tuned for a potential announcement on the Star Child giveaway winner, where the winner is going to be getting a Star Child t-shirt, TCC and RML stickers, and a Star Child poker chip. Super excited about that, but now, 2 big events to talk about here. Let's jump into them. On the 30th September, just over a month ago, NHRL had their 6th and final regular season qualifier event for 2023, and in a massive turnout, we saw one of the largest fields in NHRL history with robots from all over the world, from Mexico to America to Brazil to Australia to even India. BattleBots teams such as Seems Reasonable, Team WPI, Team Valkyrie, Riobots, Uriah, and Team War Easy, and even some live event powerhouses such as Team Panic, Sleepy Anime Girl Club, Ogre-Bots, Team 57, and Team Phoenix were also present. It was your usual run-of-the-mill NHRL event. 3 weight classes from 3 pounds to 30 with 3 golden dumpsters and 12 entire championship invites on the line. And let's get things started with the class NHRL got famous off of, the Beetleweight division. There were a lot of really big stories here in the 3-pound division. Stories like Chainsaw Kitty's So Close But So Far run, Chubby Unicorn's solid pre-finals campaign, Impact looking to be a future monster in the 3-pound class. But in my opinion, one story that went under a lot of folks' noses is that a ton of NHRL longtime regular powerhouses did so poorly in this event. We saw the original Shredded Bro, Glenn Boxall's Caldera, Brian Boxall's Eruption, and even defending champion Lynx all former and recent NHRL top 10 ranked robots going 0-1 once they reached the championship bracket. Some of these were serious shocks, but none more so than our annual 2022 champion Lynx's exit. After a controversial defeat in the August NHRL tournament, everyone, including myself, expected to see Lynx return to defend its title at the NHRL finals. And we got what we expected, though maybe not in the way any of us anticipated. Over the final quarter of NHRL's regular season, one robot which has really started to spur up some problems in the meta is the one and only Loophole. A beetleweight multibot which, according to NHRL rules, is able to take advantage of the Walker bonus and the cluster bonus to push out a near 6-pound mass into the arena every single battle. Loophole first took this idea with little success, but this event we saw a multitude of robots use this concept, including one Booty Brigade, a multibot featuring Droopy and Lynx, the two greatest 3-pounders in NHRL history. This wicked combo of robots did qualify for the finals, but shockingly didn't win at all. That honor would instead go to a different Loophole-style robot in Monkfish, coming from 2023 live event powerhouse YO Robotics. Monkfish, a cranked-up version of the team's 1-pounder Mudfish, won in the finals versus Synthesis, an emulsifier-inspired vertical spinner which is already qualified for November a few months back, and was one of 2 robots which did shockingly manage to defeat Booty Brigade at this event. The other of these robots to defeat the Brigade will be another NHRL finalist qualifier from this event, Texas's own Warhard. Warhard has had a couple of NHRL outings this year, but honestly struggled in pretty much all of them, and all that frustration was made worthwhile here with a massive win over 2 NHRL powerhouses and a 3rd place finish. Also qualified for the finals from this event alongside Booty Brigade, Warhard, and Monkfish will be IDK WTFID, another robot we've seen run the gauntlet quite a bit in NHRL this year, finally getting that vertical spinner in all of the right spots to punch a ticket to November. So Droopy has 2 final spots, and Loophole-style bots may end up running the table in the 3-pound finals, but what's going on in the bigger weight classes? In the 12-pound hobbyweight class, a class which recently has felt like it's been taken over by the University of Cincinnati, the Bearcat Brigade ended up not running so hot this time around. The already qualified duo of Super Scope and Cthulhu may have already punched this November ticket, but it did show weakness not shown before in this tournament, going 3-2 as a unit, while Maximizer, the leading robot in this group, sat out of this bracket, prepping for the finals while scouting from far away. Elsewhere in the bracket, we saw Son of Cram and Whomper make one more shot at the finals, with both seriously upsetting their teams, while the brand new Dark Star also disappointed too, sadly, putting together its worst outing yet after suffering a solder connection in its round 2 fight, eliminating it shockingly early versus none other than Craig the Robot, who became longtime lovable loser Ethan Shipley's first ever machine to make a tournament run at NHRL after a year in the league. Craig would eventually be eliminated in the following round by Zupacabra, and that brings us to the top 4 in our 12-pound qualifiers. Just missing the top 4, but still qualifying thanks to a performance by Team Bad Ideas Timber Viper. We had 2023 Motorama 12-pound winner Minor Threat 5, finally sneaking into November after a couple attempts. And then in the top 4, joining Kevin Molcheski's Timber Viper will be 2 Brazilian juggernauts and an NHRL regular. Our regular came from the often seen school squad of Team Honeycracked with their signature classic vert Honey Shock. We've seen Zach and Honey Shock at 4 NHRL events over the past year across 15 fights over that 365-day window. It had a crazy 7-fight run in September to lock itself in here with numerous wins in the last competition. And from here on out, this tournament story is all about those mighty Brazilians, as both Riobots and Ryer showed up here, collectively bringing 4 robots into this 12-pound bracket with the signature robot from each team, former NHRL finalist Toro Jr. and Robocore 12-pound 2023 winner Zupacabra, both reaching November, with the latter, Zupacabra, a 12-pound version of Black Dragon, taking the golden dumpster home. Finally, in the land of the beasts, the featherweight class, we saw 30 and 45-pound robots alike strut their stuff inside of NHRL's biggest arena, with none of these robots capturing my heart as much as TCC's one and only Yamato Tokyo Drift, the first ever robot proudly sponsored by the Combot Collective. The Yamato crew, Team 57, hit me up shortly after our last NHRL update with very sweet words about our show and a suggestion to have our logo be on Yamato for the September NHRL event. and knowing exactly how show-stopping and eye-catching the massive Yamato was, I just couldn't turn down this amazing opportunity, and the team just went above and beyond, pasting the old and new TCC logo all over the robot. I was only expecting one sticker alongside a series of awesome QR codes which led everybody at NHRL directly to TCC's various web pages. For me, one amazing fight from Yamato would have been enough for myself to be more than content with what was down here. Even if it did go 0-1, the exposure, the support to such an amazing team would have been enough for me. But I don't think any of us here at the Combot Collective or even at Team 57 could have imagined Yamato taking out one of Brazil's top robots in Quayo. Quayo, the 30-pound answer to the Black Dragon design, was a favorite of many, including myself, to win this featherweight bracket. But after a very twisted and tangled showdown between Yamato 2, one which ended in a shock judge's decision victory for Yamato, things would not be so easy for the former Desperado Championship team. Fortunately for them, the team's sole horizontal spinner would qualify. The team's sole horizontal spinner, Jubilee, would qualify alongside a couple other Brazilian machines, such as Toro Feather, a former NHRL finalist, and Sombra 30, a robot which has had the number of other Brazilian powerhouses in this field prior. All three of these robots will be back for the big November tournament, but not one of them would leave here with the golden dumpster. That honor would instead go to Kevin Walczewski, who's having a better year than just about everybody in the sport of robot combat right now with this 30-pound claw viper named Red Storm. Red Storm almost qualified 2 NHRL events ago, but after an awful judge's decision, it got screwed out of an opportunity to go to November. That only fired up the Seattle crew as Red Storm bounced right back into the September tournament, out-grappling and out-gunning the likes of STF, Toro Feather, and Sombra 30 in the finals to become our golden dumpster winner, and only the third ever control bot to win an NHRL championship. Overall, that means with the dust settled, 5 Brazilian robots and 7 American robots, including one from the great state of Texas, have qualified for the big dance this weekend, as machines like Sombra 30, Toro Feather, and Zupa Cabra join Shibata as Brazilian representatives in the final, staring down some of America's best, like Lynx, Droopy, Minor Threat 5, Kolbui Tango, and of course, the world's best roboteer right now, Jameson Go, and his army of top-tier robots like Megatron, Psycho, and Silent Spring. Now, NHRL is out of the way. Time for us to finally sort of catch up back with the Champions Tournament as it stands right now with qualifier number 5. I don't know how really caught up we are. I'm pretty sure most people watching this will have seen the Champions finale at this point, but here we are taking a look at, in my opinion, the second most stacked qualifier in Champions 2 with our best detail, discussing the stories, incidents, numbers, and configurations we saw in this exciting bracket on paper. Numerous narratives from a mega team sharing a qualifier, Gruff and Glitch's hopes for redemption, and of course Alex Bales' televised driving debut are all waiting for us to run through, so let's jump right in with our very first battle, Shatter versus Claw Viper. Yes, this Spinner Heavy Championship kicked off with, shockingly enough, 2 non-kinetic competitors. We had arguably the best American control bot in recent memory, Claw Viper, who, just like we mentioned, it alongside its captain Kevin Walczewski and all of its siblings like Timber Viper and Red Storm, are just having the best year ever in what was already a fairly impressive career for Team Bad Ideas. Claw Viper managed a top 32 berth for the first time ever after an impressive Robot Ruckus 2021 where it was too powerful to compete. And maybe even more impressively, we've seen Timber Viper and Red Storm all over the NHRL and RCE finals scene this year. Seattle has made their biggest presence in the sport since the Team Velocity days, and it's all been done with a completely different style of robot. Back to the tournament, though, Claw Viper was no stranger to facing fellow non-kinetics in the opening round of these mini brackets. It faced Kraken and Bounty Hunters and Defender in Champions 1, but Shatter is a completely different beast. Shatter, despite its troublesome 1-4 year, is a robot that should be feared nearly as much as its European counterpart Beta. Shatter has a shockingly long lineage, going back to the early Maker Faire events in the mid-2010s under the name of Mega Melvin, the original heavyweight Omni Hammer. Mega Melvin never took the world by storm, but in 2017, the robot took a massive step forward in both design and notoriety with appearances at both RoboGames and the first King of Bots, where it managed to win the end-of-event Rumble. Mega Melvin then went nearly undefeated across 2 events in 2018 under the name Blue, priming it for a massive debut at BattleBots 2019 under the new moniker of Shatter. It took a moment for Shatter to get out of the gate, delivering an average 2-2 debut season, but in 2020's COVID season, the robot really took off, making it all the way to the Elite 8 where it could only be stopped by eventual champion Endgame. Since this Cinderella run, though, Shatter, despite making the playoffs 2 more times since, has felt like it's been treading water, and momentum will be needed if it wanted to remain the ace of Bots FC. As always, we talk about modifications here, discussing how robots prepare for every single fight, especially in a big one-night tournament like this. And kicking off with this first fight, Claw Viper made a bold move, ditching every bit of side armor for a special anti-axe configuration, putting all that armor on top instead, while Shatter also did a first here, bringing 2 forks alongside for the first time ever the axe seen in its bot photo, which apparently goes by the full name of the Full Surprise, which is the team's lightest hammer, used with the intention of keeping up with Claw Viper's speed, trying to just do whacking strike after whacking strike. But as we saw in this fight, much easier said than done. Shatter's new Full Surprise axe was fast, but Claw Viper was certainly faster, as it had Shatter rammed into the driver's side wall within 5 seconds, and almost had full grasp on Shatter within 10 seconds, and then nearly had a suplex delivered after only 30. Shatter did manage a few solid strikes, overall going 8 for 15, but it was not enough to halt Claw Viper, whose constant grapples and slams eventually would knock out the axe of Shatter, leaving the second half of this fight to just be the world's fastest tour of the battle box for our New York axe bot. Slam after slam from the corner to the screws to the upper deck and back again thanks to Claw Viper. And this would be about how the fight ran for the most part until the very ending 20 seconds, where Claw Viper managed to pinch through the first layer of Shatter's armor, giving it enough grapple force to ram Shatter up and into the screws to end the dominant 3 minutes for the Seattle robot. This would be a dominant judge's decision victory for Claw Viper, whose only damage taken from it was on its own aggressive volition, as the hammer and axe half of Bots FC now must look forward to the NHRL Finals if they want to take home any credit this year. Emulsifier is looking pretty good right now, I gotta say. But moving forward here, our next battle gives us 2 robots which gained their fame and notoriety by competing and showing up at competitions outside of BattleBots, now trending in wildly different directions exiting this competition. We first kick off with Gruff, coming from Sam McCamus and company out of the robot crazy state of Florida. This robot first kicked off its career right at the start of the 2010s and made its TV debut on Killer Robots, RoboGames 2011 in the opening battle versus Sewer Snake. Since that era of low-tier combat, Gruff was redesigned and ended up picking up some big live event championships on the East Coast across the mid-2010s before finally making its BattleBots debut in 2019, kicking things off with a rare Rumble win over Marvin and Gemini, and that was just the start. After wicked impressive outings versus the likes of Tombstone, Hypershock, and others, Gruff found itself in the 2020 playoffs, staying winning and was primed to be the new tank bot of the heavyweight class after Duck's retirement in 2021. But that just did not happen. In BattleBots 2022, it went a disappointing 1-3, with all 3 of its losses coming by way of knockout. Add to that a couple of KO defeats in 2021, and recently the tank has not looked much like a tank at all. Sturdiness is key versus Monsoon if Gruff wants to maintain his legacy as a true brick of the sport, a true unmovable object in the world of BattleBots. It's tough with a robot like this, though. Monsoon, meanwhile, has been riding a much more fortunate road after some initially troubling times. Monsoon first broke into the scene of robot combat going by the name of Toron, a rudimentary 2-wheel drive vert, which was more or less a field filler in reboot Robot Wars outside of one fantastic battle versus Androne 3000. This was until its wicked version 3 redesign, which debuted after Robot Wars had shut its doors again. This design, the one we now know as Monsoon today, competed across Extreme Robots for a few months, and at first its weapon reliability was a massive problem, which made me very shocked when the team announced it was invited to the 2018 BattleBots season, going from Toron to Monsoon. I expected Monsoon to be a real struggle bug in 2018, and while the weapon reliability was still a problem, not much else was on Monsoon as it reached the Elite 8. The team has not looked back since. It's been a force at both BattleBots and Extreme Robots, and in its post-COVID return to the Battle Box, it was more of the same with a top 16 placement this time. Add that to the recent Extreme Robots victories it has managed to pull off on the once undefeated Zykiel, and Monsoon had some wicked momentum entering this tournament. Modifications here. Monsoon ran the setup as seen in their bot photo. Short forks up front, long forks up high with Monsoon beater blade equipped. Gruff, meanwhile, much similar here. No wax or any special setups needed. Sam McCamus made note of fork reach advantage for this battle, so he felt like there really wasn't much a change here from the vanilla Gruff design. And fork reach advantage certainly did play a factor at first. It was a very strong start for the veteran robot from Ram Robotics, who kicked this one off with wicked flames and an even more wicked gyroscopic suplex, which slammed both robots down hard, as Gruff showed some of its best moves all year. Monsoon, though, bounced right back after getting slammed weapon first towards the upper deck, not missing a beat and charging right back towards Gruff for 5 straight unanswered strikes by the UK robot that put this one over just as fast as it started. The 5th strike by Monsoon, a mere love tap, would end up being the most deadly, setting Gruff ablaze in all the wrong ways, stuck on its lid like a busted barbecue while John Remar countered it out. Gruff, the supposed tank of BattleBots, was put away in just 54 seconds, the fastest ever knockout loss for Gruff, and the 3rd knockout loss for Gruff this year that went under 2 minutes, 4 straight period. Thankfully, there's still more surprises in store for us when it comes to Gruff. We haven't seen the hammer attachment publicly yet, but this team has a ton to reflect on for the future if they want to retain their reputation. Because just being a flamethrower isn't going to get you too far, unfortunately, with how sadly I should say, ineffective they can be sometimes. In our 3rd round 1 battle, we had a very, very interesting one. It was a battle of the 2021 Rookie of the Year versus the 2022 Rookie of the Year, a pair of machines that use innovative ideas to skyrocket them to the top of the sport early on, with the older of the two going through one of the worst sophomore slumps we've ever seen in the sport. And that robot's none other than Glitch, who certainly has had a few of those this year. Last season, Glitch was the talk of robot combat. Coming from a prestigious university in UC Berkeley, Glitch had the tech and certainly the rec to support it in being a threat to the sport, starting off its career a mind-boggling 7-0 with massive shock knockouts over all stars of the sport such as Kraken, Hydra, and Rotator. It finished its first year in the sport firmly in the top 10 of our TCC OVERAL rankings, but this year found itself in a much different place, at the absolute bottom, ranking number 151, making it the 6th lowest rank on our rankings, with the 2nd lowest rank looming if it lost this battle by KO. If that happened, it would only be better than Saint. Fucking Saint. On the other end, though, we have Ripperoni, a Rookie of the Year which has had absolutely zero competition in terms of the award, captained by young Roboteer Anna Zolikov as one half of the new exciting team named Omega Team. This robot burst into the scene by turning numerous heads at various 30-pound competitions, and within less than a year, it had a 250-pound version of it primed and ready to go for BattleBots, and in just 2 career fights, it had done the unthinkable by knocking out a former Giant Nut winner at Endgame, and since then, Ripperoni, with its revolutionary counter flywheel, a measure we're likely going to be seeing in just about every vertical spinner moving forward, I imagine, has just been absolutely unstoppable. 3-1 regular season, followed by an electric round of 32 loss against Black Dragon, and now it's left the main season with Rookie of the Year and Best Design honors, and now wanted to add a Golden Bolt to that already very, very impressive list. So in this all Rookie of the Year battle, what are these robots bringing? Ripperoni ran the Pizza Wedge in addition to some added Tegris armor, which apparently came very clutch in its round 4 regular season battle versus Copperhead, while Glitch entered with 2 wedges up front, which according to Kyle Miller provided Glitch with its best ground game possible. Now Glitch looked pretty smooth and mobile during the Twitch tests and during the opening portions of this fight, giving me a little bit of hope for the glass cannon robot early on, After 20 or so seconds of jockeying for position, Ripperoni ran over a portion of Glitch's wide body, kind of like a monster truck, and this, of all things, ended up stunning the Berkeley vertical spinner. This allowed top-tier driver Frederick Moore all the time in the world to tee up a perfect strike to the ass end of Glitch, shooting it forward like a pool ball into the driver's side corner. Ripperoni then tore away at Glitch for a bit before backing away to really put the pineapple on their pizza, landing a coup de grace strike to Glitch, which put it away in over a minute, just over a minute. The crowd chanted pizza, and the newfound fan favorites were moving on, leaving the top-tier college with a lot to think about over this recent period of time. We know changes are coming. We heard that Glitch is ditching the experimental X drive in favor for traditional drive, but I think the team really should plan a trip to Proving Grounds to show off that this robot can still be the real deal before the gauntlet of 2024. But that's just me. It's just that they're so close right there, it seems ideal, but I guess we're just going to have to see what the busy college is going to do. Finally, it's time for the real story of this tournament with last year's TCC #1 overall ranked robot, Hypershock, a robot which would have not claimed that first overall honor if it wasn't for a tournament run it had in the summer of 2022, where it went 3-0 with 3 knockouts over robots like Hydra and Tombstone, all while Will Bales' wife, Alex Bales, drove the reboot era favorites. That tournament, one named Remar's All-Stars 2, never saw the light of day and never made it onto TV or even online. So with her driving Hypershock in this Champions 2 tournament, this meant that this battle right here, this whole tournament here, would be her first ever BattleBots fight to be seen on national television by numerous eyes. And as if that wasn't enough pressure, Hypershock had a bit more work to do this time around if it was going to be our TCC #1 ranked robot come New Year's Day. It's number 57 overall right now with a 3-3 record behind Will Bales. Not a bad record at all, but with exactly 0 points, it meant that it would need 3 straight KOs here and 3 straight KOs in the Bolt bracket to even put it in contention for a top 5 spot on our list. The team has a tough hill to climb, but we know the Phenom driver would be game here. On the other end, much further away from the #1 overall position is Starchild, the second Omega Team robot, which had quite a performance by its teammate to follow. Just like Ripperoni, Starchild, the follow-up to Brandon Zielinski's P1, it was a robot which had made quite a name for itself on the live scene, though it took much longer to move up compared to its pizza-tossing partner, and that may be because of how scale works with this wicked Twackbot design. We've seen the original 3-pound Starchild deliver often at NHRL and Motorama. We've seen the 30-pound Starfighter struggle often but have moments of great success. We haven't seen that at all with the brand new 250-pound Starchild, and there may be a few reasons of that outside of scale. One big issue for me is that I believe the most visible, exposed portion of Starchild for any robot to hit is none other than their own weapon. That thing has broken nearly every single time it has fought, but that isn't the only issue. The other, in my opinion, is the schedule it was given. According to Omega Team, Starchild was built to fight very meta verts, the more compact the better, so of course BattleBots gave Starchild some of its wackiest designs from mammoth to huge en route to an 0-4 season. Things were far different here though. New clean slate and Hypershock, despite its flair, was as meta as a vert gets, so Brandon Zielinski, Tony D'Ambrosio, and all these guys really wanted to make a big change happen here. This was a big moment, especially against such a huge name like Starchild on a day where they could really squander Alex Bales' big driving debut. Let's talk about modifications, though, before we talk about the fight. Starchild was coming into this tournament a little deadlier than before, adding 600 RPMs to their hammer saw for this tournament, while a Hypershock would run its anti-horizontal spinner plow, since it's the setup Alex Bales felt more comfortable with, alongside that dual-disc weapon for this battle. And for this battle being the unofficial midway major for this episode, it honestly felt a little bit underwhelming despite the larger-than-life names competing in it. But that may just be because I'm bummed to see my boy Starchild struggle so much. Everyone's favorite intergalactic Twackbot whiffed on its first twacking strike, but made the best contact it has made yet in its career with its second twack, rocking the top of Hypershock while sacrificing its xenomorph-esque body paneling. This sadly would be about where all the good of Starchild would cease, though sadly, with Starchild immediately looking limp after the hefty collision, and this allowed Alex Bales to pounce all over the multiple easy targets on the Omega Team bot with relentless strike after relentless strike to Starchild, making it more and more limp as the fight went on, with Starchild barely able to drive forward with zero active weapon at all after just minute 1. This allowed Alex Bales to turn off her weapon, icing Starchild and working the clock with serious control and aggression across minute 2 before turning that weapon right back on for the final minute. 3 more strikes and right in front of Omega Team more or less put this fight to bed and put Hypershock Spitter to bed, as the Tegris wheel then got lodged deep into Hypershock's weapon. Fight ended up going a full 3 minutes, all in favor of Alex Bales and Hypershock, now 4-0 with the Neon Nightmare, while Starchild wraps up a very disappointing year in just about every weight class it partook in, from the Battle Box to House of Havoc. 2024 has to look better for the team, otherwise this design may not be around longer, and I'd hate to say that because I know just how much it means to Brandon Zelensky. Now though, to kick off the semifinals, we're staying with Hypershock here. We have our most recent rematch yet, even more recent than the Qualifier 3 finale with free shipping and gigabytes. In the 4th and final round of the 2022 regular season, we saw the 3-0 Claw Viper challenge the 1-2 Hypershock in a battle which at first looked to be Hypershock's easy match until the first 3 rounds played out. Hypershock won that one fairly easily, delivering a knockout in just 1 minute 19, but it was revealed during this episode that Claw Viper actually were running on old wheels for that fight to preserve their fresh materials for a tournament they were already more or less qualified for, essentially. This time it was single elimination though, and both of these teams were throwing everything at the wall to make their optimal result happen, with Kevin Molcheski and Alex Bales, 2 aggressive drivers, meeting inside the arena for the first time ever. And in a battle like this, especially a rematch, modifications and changes are important. Qual Viper brought back the full body package with side armor now back to its kinetic energy robot opponents, while Hypershock surprisingly busted out the forks for this one whilst keeping on the dual disc spinner. And you know, with the experience Molcheski had with his team by now, I knew this one was going to be an absolute barn burner, and it was easily the best fight of this entire bracket. The 2 fastest robots in the entire sport, with 2 of the sport's most aggressive drivers, one a rookie, one a veteran. Both machines were sporadic as could be out of the gate too, with Hypershock drawing first blood by defanging the tip of Claw Viper's grappler, but this didn't rattle the snake at all. Claw Viper answered back by ramming Hypershock into the driver's corner, then shortly after lifted Hypershock upwards, hoisting it and ramming it right into the upper deck, where Hypershock almost got popped onto the upper deck's border, but Alex Bales did manage to escape. Claw Viper missed a huge chance to attack while Hypershock was stuck and prone, and after Alex escaped, she took over the second half of this fight, as Hypershock then answered back with a volley of serious strikes, throwing Claw Viper all over the arena, sometimes 6 feet forward, sometimes 6 feet high. During it all though, Claw Viper stayed wildly aggressive, trying to lift and suplex Hypershock until the very end, only losing half of its drive in the final 10 seconds. But then after the buzzer, smoke began to billow out of Claw Viper, leaving a wild scene for the judges to review, and despite it being a tale of 2 fights, Fawn, Derek, and Lisa would all go unanimously for Hypershock, and this sadly put a cap on a miracle season and an absolute game-changing year for Claw Viper. Semi-final number 2 gave us 2 robots with a lot of surprisingly similarities. 2 robots with a 4-win record, 2 robots very likely to end the year in our top 10, 2 robots with some amazing captains in Tom Brewster and Anna Zolikov, and 2 robots with some larger-than-life personalities in Tim Rackards and Frederick Moore. Monsoon has taken the UK and the US scene by storm with its unique hinged module setup, while Ripperoni has taken the 30 and 250 pound scene by storm with its game-changing internal flywheel. Both of these teams left the 2022 taping hoisting up a giant bolt, but only one can move on for a chance to be only 4 fights away from a golden bolt to add on top of it. Can't screw those together, but they certainly look good by each other. Let's talk about modifications. Ripperoni and Monsoon, pretty much no modifications here. They ran things pretty much unchanged from round 1. Kenny Florian, though, did make note that Ripperoni's deep dish blade did have a more sizable reach advantage over Monsoon's signature brawler blade. Certainly something in both of these squads' minds entering these fights. Another thing both these squads had in mind were the weak spots. In the pre-fight interviews, Anna discussed taking out batteries, while Brewster put a focus on the bizarre wheels of Ripperoni. And despite the strategy that both these teams discussed, they ended up just saying fuck it and going head on anyway, and a meeting Monsoon would end up getting the better of. Big impact to Ripperoni, who just kept on chugging, not allowing Monsoon to capitalize, eventually bringing the fight to the driver's side corner, where a weapon-to-weapon collision ended up putting Monsoon in a drought with a massive internal fire suddenly setting off inside the robot, while Ripperoni was looking a little overcooked itself with a wonky drive and a bent-to-uselessness pizza wedge up front. This left us in an awkward cripple fight between the two sluggers for the final 2 minutes, with both robots whiffing on massive KO opportunities, eventually leaving the kill saw slots to decide this one as they locked up Monsoon, allowing Ripperoni to land the perfect strike to Monsoon, throwing it directly onto its face, forcing it to do the thing in a 1 minute 43 second knockout. Despite being eliminated, it was a great year for Monsoon, which is not over yet, with us still to cover its October at Extreme Robots, but it was over for the UK Robots at BattleBots Champions, with Quantum not electing to partake in the tournament. Best of luck to the team, though. With a top 16 berth in World Championship 7, it's almost certain we're going to be seeing them again for the next couple of years in both the UK and the USA. But now we have to talk about the finals. Number 18 versus number 44, and we could have not gotten a better final than this. Two of the most electric, most beloved, most destructive machines from the 2022 World Championship meeting face-to-face, with killer A's such as Anna Zolikov and Alex Bales leading their respective helms. A knockout victory for Ripperoni would put it in the brim of our TCC top 10, but the real number that mattered here was 5. 5 wins and 0 losses for Alex Bales behind the stick of Hypershock entering this fight, a sight we all better get used to, with her taking over Hypershock and Will Bales likely fighting with Vertigo next year. Alex was not likely to give up her undefeated record to a fellow rookie, and after struggling against some aggressively driven machines like Gruff and Black Dragon in the regular season, it did make me worry a little bit about our beloved Pizza Bot against Hypershock entering this fight. Last time we discussed it in this episode, modifications. Hypershock again retained the dual disc while bringing back the anti-horizontal spinner wedge for the sake of comfort and maneuverability, even if it was against a vertical spinner like Ripperoni, who meanwhile, being carried out on my boy P1, showed that it would remain the same for this fight. 3 straight battles pretty much, with a fixed pizza wedge for this battle. Looked a lot better than it did after that Monsoon fight. Now, one thing I found very interesting about the pre-fight discussions was how Will and Alex Bales seemed to really anticipate both of these robots being chaotic and overly aggressive, while on the other end, Anna Zolikov made it clear that the team was going to pretty much try to keep things patient and methodical the entire fight. But I guess it didn't matter too much, because despite both robots enlisting their respective strategies early, Hypershock had a clear upper hand within the first 20 seconds by killing half of Ripperoni's drive with 1 strike, only to then reveal that it too was down half of its drive now as well. It was almost as if Ripperoni used Pair's song on a 2 as the pair began to struggle equally, leaving Ripperoni in its second straight cripple fight in as many battles during this bracket. And this slowdown pace really benefited the patient strategy of Ripperoni, and it showed quickly as Ripperoni took control from here, delivering 4 strikes, one of which being very critical before time ended up drawing full. This fight was not the one we wanted, but it was the one we deserved, as Ripperoni and Hypershock were saved by the bell, leading to a unanimous judges decision for our Rookie of the Year. Pizza time, y'all. Ripperoni's first judges decision victory of its entire career, and it came at the best possible time. I am so happy to see 2 of Robots Room My Life's own qualifying for the Golden Bolt, making up literally 1/4 of that prestigious bracket, but this is bittersweet to me. We really didn't get a chance to discuss much preview-wise with BattleBots Champions, but I did believe Hypershock was going to win the Golden Bolt off the back of Alex Bales. The minimal footage I've seen of her driving from Facebook and Remar's fan footage really impressed me, and I had them making the miracle run, but that's just how the sport goes. Tell you what, let's go Shred It Bro and Ripperoni in the Elite 8. I am so excited to see that tomorrow. So stoked. That's going to wrap it up here at the Combot Collective. 7 fights up and 7 fights down in the world of BattleBots. Plenty of results discussed in terms of NHRL. This was a great episode. We're finally sort of caught back up with Robot Combat tonight. Next time we catch up with you guys, we are going to be talking about Shredder Bro, Ripperoni. We're going to be talking about the other Champions qualifiers, such as Free Shipping, Whiplash, all the BattleBots champions, such as Tantrum, Endgame, of course, Sawblaze. We'll be talking about them all. We're also going to be talking about the NHRL Finals in that Tournament of Champions, kind of a Champions Golden Special of Robot Combat tonight coming up, as we will be talking about the NHRL Finals, like I said, what happened during, after the Havoc, amidst the Havoc. I do apologize, it's not after the Havoc anymore, and who ended up taking the Golden Bretts home. There's going to be some amazing robots in that tournament, such as the Jameson Go robots I was talking about, such as the big-name Brazilian teams, along with some other very popular robots. We're going to have Kitchen Grill, the miniature version of Double Barbecue in the field, some other machines from BattleBots teams, from WPI, Team Ribbot, of course, Team Valkyrie's Kablooey Tango, Texas's Warhard, Lynx and Droopy are going to be there. It's going to be a very stacked event. We're going to be talking about all those robots and more when we discuss the NHRL Finals and the Golden Bolt Finals in that RCT episode. And then after that, we'll be doing some more heavyweight catch-up with Proving Grounds, UK live events, Battle of Robots in the following RCT. And then that's going to catch us up RCT-wise. Breakdown episodes, that's a whole different story, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to hopefully start writing Battle of Robots scripts within the next 2 days. We'll see how that goes, though. I got to get those out before the 25th, because I believe that's when the Battle of Robots event for the semifinals is taking place. But I digress. Let's get you guys out of here. I am your host, as always, for Robot Combat tonight and the Combot Collective, Sterling Brown, a.k.a. Sterling TXTG on Instagram, and you can also find the Combot Collective on Instagram in the description below. We post stat posts there, news posts there, video posts there, and we update our story almost every single day. Sorry about that first break we had in late October. Very unprofessional of me. I do apologize. But also be sure to check out our Facebook and our Discord page. A lot of good stuff on the Facebook page. As with the Discord page, we have a great community brewing up and stirring up. Young fans, old fans, UK fans, US fans, UK builders, US builders, they're all there trying to make a community. All of our TCC video news goes there first. So if you really want the exclusive details, head over there and join our server. Link in the description below. And you're already right here on the YouTube page, the mothership. If you like what you're seeing here at Robot Combat tonight, hopefully our UK viewers can see this. We were dealing with some copyright issues earlier throughout the BattleBots champion seasons. It's been driving me crazy. I guess Max is more locked down when it comes to that with that copyright stuff. But I digress. If you like this YouTube video, please leave a like, leave a comment giving us your thoughts on NHRL, BattleBots champions, some constructive criticism, and please subscribe. Ring that bell icon, because we're going to be posting a lot more on the Combot Collective to finish out our year of 2023 in what has been a great year. BattleBots champions, NHRL championship, Rattle of Robots, Rangers are world champions. A lot to love right now, and I certainly am here for it. Hopefully you guys are here too. We'll see you next time on Robot Combat tonight. Thank you.
This was the Combot Collective. Find us on Instagram and Discord.